Well, it's Wednesday, and that means we have our plant and garden expert, Craig Hignite, joining us in studio, taking your plant and garden questions through the WQED Facebook Live, which we have up right now. So let's kick it off with Robert saying, I have many new shoots coming off my lilac. Can I transplant these, and when, and how should I do this?
Well, you can give it a shot. What you have to do is a little creative digging around those sprouts and make sure that they already have roots. If you don't find roots, just put the dirt back, give them time enough to make their roots, and they can be moved this time of the year if they have roots on them.
Alrighty, well, Angela is asking, what is the best grass seed for high traffic areas that can be planted in the spring?
Oh, usually it's a mix of bluegrass, rye, and fescue. That's a high traffic mix. Just make sure you read the label and follow any planting instructions that you get.
Chad is wondering, what is a good choice of a shade tree that tends to be disease-free, somewhat fast-growing, and fairly strong?
Well, my go-to for the last several years has been the Brandywine maple. It is a maple. It's a hardwood, excellent fall color, no seed. It's a male, so it cannot produce seed. And I've seen it put 18 inches of growth on while it's still in the container before they even go in the ground.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow, perfect. Well, this is from Rick. Can you add Epsom salt to your watering mix for the garden plants, etc.?
Yes, Epsom salt, magnesium sulfate. It is one of those minerals that plants need. Sometimes our soil are slightly deficient in it. Just don't get carried away. Never more than about a teaspoon per gallon. And you can put it in with your regular fertilizer, which you will use. Shouldn't yet. It's still too early to have plants out there. But remember, you fertilize 3 times a month, the 1st, the 10th, and the 20th.
There you go. Can we plant our sunflower seeds yet?
Too early. The ground's not quite warm enough yet. We're going to wait and do this out probably this year after the 1st of May. I don't know. Our frost-free date is normally May 15th. Maybe it'll move up a few days this year, but don't get carried away.
Alrighty, well, Margaret says, I have a maple tree that's not budding, but has suckers on bottom. Is the tree dead?
We don't know yet. What you can do is on the main part of the tree, do the scratch test. Start out at the tip of the branch, scratch. If it looks like dry wood, move in and just keep going. If you get clear to the main trunk, yes, that branch is gone. Those sprouts coming up around the bottom, let's not get carried away. Let's give the tree a chance to leaf out.
Barbara's asking, my lilacs are too crowded. How and can I thin them out some? 6 of them and old bushes.
Okay.
Not written very well.
Anyway, if you've got a lilac, a big old lilac that's 8, 9, 10 feet tall, go ahead, you go to the tallest stem on the plant, follow it down, cut it off as close to the ground as you can without damaging the other stems. Remember, you never take out more than 1/4 of the entire bulk of the plant in any one year. So maybe just 1 or 2 prunes this year, maybe 1 or 2 next year. It took several years for it to get too big and crowded. It's going to take some time to thin it out.
Alrighty, well, Marion is asking, can we plant an acorn and get an oak tree?
That's where they come from a little acorn, a mighty oak grows. The thing is, first of all, you've got to get them before the squirrels do. Get them in the ground in the fall, or if you're going to try and keep them for the winter, they go into a bag, Ziploc bag, and get stored in the lettuce crisper. They have to be cold and dry. Room temperature, those acorns are going to be basically dead before spring gets here.
Linda's wondering, I have a 1-year-old nectarine tree and it's not leafing out this year. Is there anything I need to do, or is it too early yet?
It's still on the early side. Give it time. Remember that at the first sign of life, you could go ahead and give it some root stimulator to move it along. But right now, we're still kind of in a holding pattern. Again, that scratch test is going to tell you how much of the plant still has life in it.
All right, well, this is from Joanne. Can I still spray for Creepy Charlie?
This is a perfect time. We're staying warm enough that Charlie has woken up. Have you noticed all that beautiful purple ground cover blooming around the Quad Cities? That's Creeping Charlie. Use your weed-free zone. Remember, on a non-windy day, has to be 24 hours before we get rain. and keep it off of desirable plant material. Keep
Well,
it down out there.
we are going to take a short break,
that
and
note.
hopefully they're able to get their alarm off. Get your questions in the comment section of the Facebook Live below. We'll be right back. Back. We are with Craig Hignite, our plant garden expert, taking your questions through the WQAD Facebook Live. We're going to start with Arlene, who wrote in asking, can you use pine needles as a mulch for asparagus plants?
Pine needles are an excellent mulch if you can get your hands on them. They use them a lot down south where there are large pine forests. We don't get them that often up here in the north. They do tend to have an acid reaction. They'd be great around rhododendrons, azaleas, things like that. It's not going to harm asparagus at all.
All right, well, this is a long one from Tracy. So I have a peace lily that was dead. I brought it back to life, and I got my first lily the other day. I'd like to know if it is safe to repot at this point without stressing it.
I'd wait a little bit. I'd wait out until about Mother's Day or Memorial Day. And remember, you don't have to put it in a great big pot. We take them up in increments, not more than about 2 or 3 inches in pot size at any one time. Repot on a day when it's ready for water. You know, just put the fresh soil around it. Make sure your pot has a good drainage hole. Must be getting good light if you're getting some bloom on it already.
Colleen is wondering, can you use root stimulator on established bushes?
Yes, yes. I always say you use root stimulator for 3 years after you put a tree, shrub, whatever in the ground. Every year it helps build that root system up. Trees and shrubs, after the 3 years, the roots have gone out so far, it's not quite as effective.
All right, perfect. Well, Sharon is wondering, what is the best grass for under pine trees or perennials?
Well, under pine trees, I'm not sure that there's any grass that's really going to grow. Pine trees compete too well for food and water. Good shade grass are the fescues. Fescues are the one grass that can survive partial shade.
This one's from Carol. Do I cut the dry, brittle, viney leftovers from last year's growth off my clematis now? I'm getting new growth from the ground up.
It's time to go ahead. Prune your clematis. If it was brand new last year, take it down to 10 inches. If it's more than 2 years old, you cut it off at hip high.
All right, well, this is from Barbara. Can I still cut back my raspberry bushes even though they have green all over them, or will it kill them?
Well, you're going to take out last year's growth that had the fruit on it. You can see the little nubs left behind. If this is an ever-bearing raspberry. You could take the whole thing down to 6 inches above the ground. The only thing you sacrifice is that early crop that's going to be attacked by Japanese beetles anyway, but you'll get a nice big crop in the fall.
And what are some tips to get rid of those Japanese beetles? I know that you say don't put those traps out.
Right, don't use a trap unless you put it in the neighbor's yard that you don't like. You get out, and I know people don't like to use a lot of insecticides, but when you see that first Japanese beetle in your yard, you get out there with your 7 and spray the plants that you know that they're going to go to. Always keep that jar of soapy water handy on the patio, so as you walk around the yard, you touch the Japanese beetle. They're really stupid. They fall straight down. They don't try and escape. That's a good way to cut the population early, keep them under control for about 10 days. You're probably not going to have a big problem after that.
Good.
Perfect. Yeah, beautiful. All righty, well, this is from Caitlin. My hydrangea bushes are still sticks, no leaves, and very dry looking. Do they need more time, or are they dead?
Well, at this point, I'd just give them more time, and a lot depends on the siting where they are. A lot of plants have not really started to wake up yet. Give it until about Memorial Day. At that point, you can do a little careful excavation around the base of the plant and find out if the crown is still alive.
Amanda wants to know, do I cut daffodils once the blooms die?
No, 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 no. You can cut the flowers off. You don't want any seed production, but you let the leaves stay until they die back naturally. I would also be giving them a little bit of Miracle-Gro every 10 days to 2 weeks, but let the leaves stay as long as possible. They're building next year's bulb.
Perfect. Well, Sharon is asking, when should I divide daylilies?
Daylilies can be divided anytime now. The only time I don't like to divide daylilies is when they're in full bloom.
All right, Craig, thank you so much
Thank you,
for joining
Craig.
us. So many questions, of course, everyone's itching to get out there.
Oh, yeah.
And you can be sure you join our Facebook Live each and every Wednesday where you can submit your questions and be a part of the conversation. Good Morning Quad Cities at 11 returns in just a moment.